All right, good afternoon, everybody. We've got the Fed coming up here in about 13 minutes. And SPY is obviously weak on the day. We are still holding the middle Bollinger Band on the daily chart. We keep bouncing off that level. Past 3 days, we've tested it. It's currently 227.18. So where we are currently standing, this reaction to the FOMC, if it's a bull reaction, we're heading back towards the all-time high of 229.71. If it's a bearish reaction, we will likely lose this middle Bollinger Band support today. So again, 227.18 is the level to be watching. And looking at the 5-minute chart, we were all bearish all day for SPY. We hit the low of the day right around noon and a little bit of a recovery after that. But it all depends on what the reaction is going to be. And if you look at the option chain of a lot of these banks, we've got BAC and GS, and you can look in at these option chains and see that bulls are buying a lot more calls than they're buying puts heading into this week expiration. So that's a clue that big money is betting on a bullish reaction to the banking sector and XLF. So we'll see what kind of reaction we get there and if the money is right. And I'm also watching key hourly support, or I should say daily support on the dollar. This 99.43 level, it was a very key level if you zoom out for the 6-month uptrend that we've been in on the daily time frame. 99.43 was our last higher low, and we are bouncing off that level to the penny multiple times between yesterday and today. And looking at it on the hourly chart, we held it twice, and then it moved to the upside. So I'm going to be watching the dollar very close, because if we get a bear break of that 99.43 level, that's pretty much exactly what the gold bulls and the minor bulls want to see. They want to see a 99.43 break and a break of that long-term 6-month daily uptrend on the dollar. So I'm going to be watching the dollar very close. Obviously going to be watching gold close. Gold is currently rejecting from a down or an uptrend, previous uptrend support line, and it's now acting as resistance as we already fell through it. So we established support at the low of the day for gold, 1198.07, seeing a bounce attempt and a bull break. The bulls are going to look for a break of 1220 on gold. That's the highest price we've seen on this bounce on gold. High of yesterday is also a resistance of 1215.22, so a couple resistance levels to be watching. And if it's a bearish reaction on gold, we're going to be looking down at 1180. And obviously, we need to be prepared for potential knee-jerk reactions, as we see them quite often, where in the first 10 minutes, we see the price go one way and then completely 180 and go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to be watching the correlation between the market, between gold and the dollar, all very close. So about 10 minutes to go. Some bull names that are set up. We've been watching AGN yesterday and today with the biotech sector so strong. Definitely impressed that the biotech bulls have been able to hold up very well today. And we're actually getting really tight. We're going to see a clear break on the biotech sector, XBI, with the reaction to the FOMC as well. We have clear higher lows on the 5-minute and clear lower highs. I'm looking at support of 64.75. A break of that level would be bearish, and a break of 65.13 would be bullish. So we're watching the biotech sector. LABD and LABU are 3 times leveraged ETFs to play the sector. And we're going to be looking at AGN, which has had a really bullish day, and CLVS is another lead biotech bull we've been watching. So those two, if we get a bullish reaction on the sector and in the market, we will be looking for CLVS and AGN to continue. Yelp has also been a really strong bull today, confirming the bullish reversal candlestick yesterday off of the middle Bollinger Band daily support, and pretty much all upside so far today. And we're going to see an increase in volume. That was what we were highlighting yesterday, and someone else, a member, highlighted it, so good eye there. But the low volume, we're going to see an increase in volume today in Yelp, which is exactly what the bulls want to see. And we're looking at resistance. The highest price we've seen in a few months here is 43.03 on Yelp, as we're slow and steady heading towards that level. If it is a bearish reaction, Google is extremely weak. It's hovering just above its low of the day. It's been weak for multiple days, really struggling to turn things around. Keeping an eye on it, though, because a break of the lower high pattern on the 5-minute time frame for Google will be very clear if we get a bullish reaction. So 814.39 is resistance, 815.02. So a bearish reaction, Google will likely hit a new low of the day, and I'm referring to a bearish reaction to the market overall, and a bullish reaction, and we'll be looking for Google to see this bounce play out, which it is certainly struggling at this point, but perhaps a bullish market reaction will be the catalyst that the Google bulls need to see this little bounce play out. And I would just be looking for a fairly short-term bounce on Google unless we get some significant moves to get over these 5-minute moving average resistances in the 817 and 818 region. Also watching Tesla with weakness. It's been weak all day today. Bearish reaction to the markets. We'll be looking for Tesla to hit a new low of the day. It too is getting very tight. There's a lot of setups that are pretty much, you can tell everybody's just waiting for this FOMC. As we see Tesla, higher lows and lower highs on the 5-minute. A break is imminent. Pretty similar pattern to what we are seeing on the biotech sector. Facebook bulls are buying into earnings. Look at that complete turnaround right around noon and a new high of the day. We're looking at the all-time high for Facebook, and that is 133.50, and we are just $1 away from that. So the bulls are set up to a bullish reaction to earnings, blue sky breakout if it is a bullish reaction, and they're certainly buying strong at the moment. Apple has been an incredible bull all day. A 20-period 5-minute moving average holding as support time and time again. We did close just below it briefly here after 11 a.m. Eastern, and that's not really a good chart, but there was a lower wick with bulls buying the dip, and we closed a couple pennies below it, and then the bulls quickly regained it the next candlestick. And here we are testing it again, 129.16, but this has been a guide showing us that the bulls have been strong all day on Apple. Whenever you see a gap up, the 20-period 5-minute moving average is your guide. If we lose that level, we look for profit taking and for the gap to fill to the downside. If it holds, we know it's a gap and continuation move, showing a lot of strength for those bulls. So patiently waiting. We've got just about 6 minutes to go. The more cautious traders are waiting for an initial reaction to the FOMC. And if you like to gamble, you are getting in your positions before the FOMC. And watching the gold 5-minute chart to see how the bulls and bears are positioning themselves. Seeing some consolidation the last 20 minutes on gold. And the dollar seeing a bit of upside as we head into 2 p.m. Eastern. RL bull volume on this bounce is pretty strong. Last 5-minute resistance is 87.72, but we still haven't broken the lower high pattern. 5 days in a row of lower highs. 88.66 would have to break the high of yesterday. The bulls still have work to do to try and turn around that daily weakness. Biotech sector close to a bearish break. 64.75, currently 10 cents above that level. It'll be very interesting to see if we do have a bearish reaction in the market. I'm going to be looking at Apple very closely as well, because there's a lot of profit taking that could potentially happen on Apple if a market pullback spooks these Apple bulls, which have been strong all day. Hourly RSI on Apple is up at 86, 87. And still battling that 20-period 5-minute support, trying to hold it, 129.18. Potentially close to losing it. So looking at some of these individual miners, a lot of choppy action the past 3 hours on JNUG and NUGT. JNUG is very clearly stronger than NUGT today, and that is a break in the normal correlation that we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks. So correlations really change a lot on these FOMC days, and right now we're seeing that with JNUG. So if I were looking to play the miners bullish, I would be looking to play JNUG. If I was looking to play the miners bearish, I'd be looking to play Dust, and that's just a new correlation today where JNUG is very clearly stronger. All you have to do is look at the 5-minute charts and compare them, as NUGT is hovering pretty close to the low of the day, where JNUG is not. So for the dollar, it's all about 99.43. Here we are testing $100 resistance right now, and 104 is the highest price we've seen today. So bulls are making a push here on the dollar as we're just minutes away. And if we see a bull break over the high of today of 104, the next resistance I'm looking at is previous support, 117. And then I would be looking at 123. So market weakness here. Heading down towards the low of the day, it's causing a bear break on XBI. Tesla seeing some downside action, so these tight ranges seeing weakness. PCLN is also hovering just above the low of the day. It could see another leg to the downside. Keeping an eye on 1250, 1240, or I should say 1550, right at the middle Bollinger Band daily support. But SPY is trying to defend the low of the day here in anticipation as we head into the FOMC. This is just traders and investors getting ready. And we know that 227 psychological level on SPY has a lot of price action around it the last month. And if you are looking to trade quick, I would suggest switching time frames to the 2-minute charts rather than the 5 minutes. If you're used to using the 5 minutes, increased volatility and volume, I go to the 2-minute chart to see the moves a bit quicker. So I'm going down right now on 2 minutes on all my charts. So heading into the release here, we've got gold pulling back, dollar seeing some upside, and the S&P 500 pulling back. So if gold and the S&P 500 both headed to the downside, we know Dust and JDST are going to see some really nice upside with both directional momentum favoring the bears. So we're going to have to watch to see if gold and the market are inversely correlated on the reaction or directly correlated. So Apple's seeing some profit taking. We're looking at support of 129 psychological. And then looking at where support was established on the way up, 128.55. Apple support as well. So initial reactions. Gold trying to see some upside. SPY's not doing much yet. Little upside in SPY. Need things to get digested. Big bull break on gold. We're heading up towards the high of the day, 1207.29. And if SPY and gold both head up, we know these bull miners are going to perform really well. So an initial bullish reaction on gold. We'll see if the bulls can hold on to those gains. SPY seeing a little bit of upside as well. Not really a significant reaction in SPY so far. The dollar is dumping, heading down towards 99.43 support. Initial bearish reaction on the dollar. SPY not doing much, and bullish reaction on gold. Now the SPY bulls picking up a little bit. So SPY to the upside and gold to the upside a bit here. So NUGT and JNUG following through with some strength. SPY trying to go green. So big time bull move on those miners, having both the market and gold in their favor right now. That can change quickly, but as of right now, that's what's going on. SPY resistance is going to be 227.59, the high of the bounce attempt from noon. And gold is continuing to push higher, so gold bulls affirming some strength. I'm looking at gold resistance of 12.12.19. Now a little bit of weakness creeping into SPY. rejecting from the 200 period 5-minute resistance and unable to break that high of 227.59. We just topped out at 227.60, so we did break it by a penny, but clear resistance at that level. So initially, it's looking like bull miners got a nice push to the upside. The dollar is still holding its key support of 99.43, so not at risk of breaking that support as of right now. And this is a pretty muted reaction. Looks like the market was anticipating no rate hike. So no big surprises, not a ton of volatility. But it is looking like we're seeing SPY pull back a bit. SPY bulls really want to hold the low of just before the FOMC came out here at 227.10. So Google is down at the low of the day. Tesla's not far above its low of the day as well, 249.05. So gold is still holding on to its bullish reaction, whereas SPY is giving it back. Checking the financial sector, XLF. Bearish reaction, new low of the day. We'll see if the banks can turn it around. But as of right now, SPY holding on, gold holding on to a fairly insignificant bullish reaction, but a bullish reaction nonetheless. Checking in on those bull miners, NUGT. So NUGT didn't break the high of the day, 1092. And we look at JNUG, and it blew through the high of the day. That was at 887, and we got all the way up to 905. So that clear change in correlation from this morning definitely playing out on the reaction as well. Could have something to do with silver being really bullish. Junior miners are more exposed to silver. And SPY bulls don't want to see this break of 227.10. Otherwise, we are heading down to the low of the day, 226.94. Dollar continuing to pull back. We're still 33 cents above the must-hold support level on the dollar. But now the bears are taking over SPY. So keeping an eye on Google and PCLN and Tesla potential weakness. We know the financial sector correlation has been strong to SPY, and the financial sector is seeing a big-time pullback in reaction. Looking at daily chart support for XLF, it's down at 23.18. So need to see these SPY bulls hold the low of the day. Gold bulls certainly still strong. And these bull miners are still seeing some nice upside. JNUG heading back to test the high of the day. NUGT now catching up to its high of the day, 1092, as gold is heading up to that 1212 resistance. So not seeing many individual stock names have significant reactions here. Even the names that were hovering just above the low of the day didn't break to new lows. Gold clearly the winner on the reaction so far, as the dollar is quickening its pace down to 99.43, currently 20 cents above that level. Be a great start to February for the gold bulls if we could see the dollar break 99.43 and lose that support. New high of the day on JNUG. So any upside when we have gold and the market heading in the same direction, even though the market's not doing much to the upside, just the fact that it's not going down definitely benefits the bull miners. See what our RSI levels are getting at. 5-minute RSI on JNUG up to 79, so definitely getting a little overbought. Let's see some daily resistance on JNUG. Going to be up at 964. Nice bull break. Another leg to the upside. NUGT, RSI up at 79 as well. So this was a nice reaction, no fake out. Bulls showed their strength right away, and they're holding it pretty well. Now a potential bearish reversal 5-minute candlestick is forming on gold. Still a couple minutes until it closes. Just need to be aware of the upper wick forming on gold. Tesla trying to make a bull break of the tightening 5-minute pattern. Bulls need to get over 250.71 to see a nice clear break of the lower high pattern. Apple's testing the high of the day. AGN still holding strong, as are the biotech bulls. As are the Yelp bulls. So SPY is back to testing the high of its reaction, 227.60. And gold and SPY still heading in the same direction. Really nice move for these miners. RL bulls are buying the dip today, but they still have lower highs on the daily time frame. Resistance is 88.66. We've seen lower highs on the daily 5 days in a row. So it's an inside candlestick currently on the daily time frame that would have to break 88.66 to not be an inside candlestick, but it is looking like tomorrow we're going to have a tightening range to watch. Bulls have yet to prove themselves by resuming back up towards $90. Still some weakness in RL, but the bulls are holding on today. So SPY just hit a little double top. We've rejected now from 227, 59, 60, and 59. So 3 tops in the past hour at that level. And gold is forming a bearish reversal candlestick on the 5-minute. So we could see some consolidation now. Those 5-minute RSI on the bull miners overbought. A little bit of an upper wick forming on JNUG and NUGT, as gold is now pulling back. Dollar is bouncing. The Tesla bulls are responding with some upside, keeping an eye on XLF, which is trying to bounce from that initial bearish new low of the day. Pretty decent bull volume on this bounce attempt for XLF, so worth keeping an eye on to see if the bulls can turn things around. New gold support to be watching is 1206.76. And Tesla next resistance is 1251.44, correct. Apple bulls, new high of the day. 130 psychological resistance. SPY bulls back to test the high of this reaction. Little triple top, 227.60. So Tesla with a bull break. We've got the biotech bulls still holding strong. They need to see a break of 65.13 on XBI to break the lower high pattern. And gold is now pulling back, so continued consolidation on gold. Facebook bulls at the high of the day, they're closing in on the all-time high. They're just 67 cents shy of that all-time high. So key resistance test on SPY, if the bulls can break 227.60, and we actually just did, so we're looking up at 227.78. The 100 period is the last 5-minute moving average resistance. And 227.75 was previous support earlier in the day. That's the next resistance level to be looking at as gold continues to pull back. So it's looking like we're resuming after a brief direct correlation between gold and the market. Looks like we're now resuming that inverse relationship with market seeing strength and gold pulling back. But it looks like the miners are still holding up. Consolidating, testing exponential 5-minute moving average support, currently holding it. But with the RSI getting so overbought, heading up towards 80 earlier, short-term traders locking some profit in on that initial 10-minute move. So XBI and the biotech bulls heading back towards the high of the day, Facebook bulls high of the day, Tesla breaking the lower high pattern on the 5-minute time frame, Apple bulls new high, and the Yelp bulls new high. Let's see if Google broke that lower high pattern just pointed out, and it is breaking that pattern. 814.39 was the resistance. Now we're looking up at 815.02 and 815.69 on Google. Let's see if we can turn things around and see a little bit of an oversold bounce. Google hourly RSI was oversold, so trying to see an oversold bounce on the hourly for Google. New lows on gold pulling back. So gold giving back most of that initial reaction. The low of the reaction was 1202.84, and we're currently just $3 above that level, as the dollar has almost gotten back to its highs of the reaction. So you can see how the correlation shifts. Just a little 10-minute trading in unison of gold in the market has now resumed the norm of what we've been used to for the past couple of months. SPY is testing its last 5-minute moving average resistance, 227.78. Biotech bulls heading towards the high of the day. VIX, that 5-minute candlestick looks like a fluke, down below $10. Doesn't look like they'd actually hit that price. We'll see if they adjust those charts. So now we got gold bouncing a bit. So the new low of gold on this consolidation is 1205.19. ERX resistance is going to be 35.36, the high of the bounce attempt from this morning. And the daily chart, the bulls are just trying to defend that 100-day moving average of 35.37 by closing above that level, but we're not confirming the bullish reversal dragonfly doji from yesterday after a gap up open and lots of profit taking. So this correlation still favoring bull miners a bit because gold holding up and SPY holding up. So need to see the low of this consolidation on miners. That's going to be important now. For NUGT, it's 1081. Bulls want that to be the low, ideally for the rest of the day. And for JNUG, that's down at 897. We have multiple inside candlesticks forming on the 5-minute time frame on both names, showing the ranges tightening, reaching an equilibrium, and we're going to see a clear break, likely within 10 minutes. Nice recovery by gold. So the low of that consolidation on both gold and the miners, definitely an important level to be watching. Oil did have a very bullish reaction. Oil is up big, bullish break, new high of the day. And we have a little double top on oil, 54.05 and 54.03. That's the levels to be watching from here for resistance. Very interesting. We've got dollar holding up pretty well. Bullish reaction for gold, consolidated but still holding up. And the SPY bulls holding up as well. Next resistance on SPY, looking at 227.95. That was a little high of a bounce attempt earlier this morning once the bears took over. So continuing to tighten for these bull miners. We're going to see a clear break within the next 10 minutes, most likely. And we're watching the range of each candlestick on the 5-minute get smaller and smaller. JNUG bulls are looking up at 964, the highest price we've seen in the past 6 weeks. Actually, really the past 2.5 months. The high of this bounce. The Bollinger Bands are getting really tight on these bull miners. NVDA bulls are holding strong. They're not too far off from the high of the day. Watching Apple as we approach 130 psychological resistance. The RSI on the 5-minute, 75. Getting a little high. That hourly RSI still up there. Up at 89 now at this point for Apple. The long lower wick on the dollar is showing bulls buying the dip. That is a bullish reaction. Keeping support, maintaining little higher lows. We're still not too far above 99.43, so that level is definitely going to be in play for the rest of the week. The minor bulls are continuing to hold their exponential 5-minute support. Still maintaining strength. $9.12 is resistance on JNUG, and then $9.18. Testing resistance right now. Gold is continuing to recover while SPY is still holding strong. Netflix bulls did get a little higher high here. Resistance was 141.15, and we got up to 141.25. So looking to just maintain higher lows and higher highs from here. The daily time frame definitely still favors the Netflix bulls as we're close to an all-time high, consolidating, healthy, holding exponential support. Indecision doji currently on the daily where we stand, and yesterday was an indecision doji as well. Facebook bulls pulling back a bit after being very overbought on the 5-minute time frame. They got up to 80 RSI. So it's normal healthy consolidation at this point. The consolidation low previously was down at 132.08. So anything above 132.08 is going to be a higher low on the 5-minute. You like that JNUG? We did get a break of 912. The bulls still in control of miners. Now SPY pulling back a bit. AMD support is going to be 1186, the low of the consolidation so far, and we set a lower high at 1204. So if we break 1186, we then have a lower high and a lower low on this consolidation. The hourly time frame got real overbought, so it's consolidating. RSI cooling off. And AMD on the daily chart. Upper Bollinger Band resistance, 1196. So that's going to be the battle here towards the end of the day. Can the bulls close above the upper Bollinger Band and break out, or is it going to contain the price with a rejection? And we have rejected from that upper Bollinger Band on the daily the last 3 attempts back in early December. So gold just looking at the high of this move as resistance, 1210.33. Nice recovery. So both NUGT and JNUG seeing the same 5-minute action, holding the exponential support and favoring the bulls. A loss of the 4-period exponential support would be a red flag for these bull miners. So Tesla bounce didn't amount to much. Tesla's rejecting from the 100-period 5-minute resistance of 251.45. So Apple's still at the high of the day, heading up to that 130 resistance. It's been quite the bull the entire day. New support is the consolidation low of 128.94. And it's just been a stair step of higher lows and higher highs. I suppose I'll stay on for the rest of the day. Another hour and a half. So gold heading up to test the highs of this reaction. And SPY bulls are continuing to hit higher lows and higher highs each 5-minute candlestick. There's not been much consolidation there, so still favoring minor bulls. NVDA is tightening a bit. We've got the high of the day, 113.80, a lower high at 113.26, and our support is down at 112.75.72. So still definitely favors the bulls on NVDA, but we are battling. Let's see what that upper Bollinger Band daily resistance is. 112.68. So that's the level the bulls want to close above today. And if we maintain the higher low pattern on the 5-minute with regards to that 112.72 low of the last consolidation, that will remain the case, and it will be a bullish close. Google, very nice bull break. So that break of the lower high pattern on the 5-minute, nice follow through to the upside. Resistance is 817.31. And we've topped out at 816.49 at this point. But 817.31 and then the 100 period 5-minute, 817.42. We've got AGN heading back towards the high of the day. So SPY bulls, high of this reaction, 227.90. Gold just formed a lower high, so looking like the 5-minute time frame for gold is going to be that equilibrium pattern. PCLN able to hold the low of the day as well. Resistance is 1569. And that's a little double top at this point on the bounce attempt, trying to break the lower high pattern on the 5-minute, but stopping at 1569 resistance twice. Support is 1565. And if we can break 1569, we're looking at 1571 as the next lower high resistance. So this is a nice reaction for these bull miners. No huge volatility back and forth. It's been slow and steady. And no red flags for the bulls at this point. And here's Apple at 130 psychological resistance, up over 7% on the day. Facebook bulls still holding up well, heading into their earnings after hours. Dollar back to seeing some weakness. Still not significant, but not much strength. And if we get a break on the high of this reaction for gold of 1210.33, I'm looking up at 1212.19. Keeping an eye on this Google 5-minute for a potential bull flag after that initial bull break. JNUG is currently 10 cents from its high of the day. And NUGT closer to its high. Currently a penny shy. Keeping an eye out for a potential double top at the high of the day on NUGT, but still not done testing that resistance. There goes Apple over 130. No slowing those bulls down. Good eye on silver. Silver just made a bull break over the high of its reaction. Let's see if gold does the same, approaching that level. High of the day test on AGN, 225.28. AGN resistance is going to be, let's see. It's actually the 200-day moving average. That's up at 225.80. So gold currently 13 cents shy from hitting a higher high. The initial bullish reaction. SPY consolidating a little bit more significantly. Support on SPY is the 200 period 5-minute moving average of 227.59. Keeping an eye on volume. XLF recovery from the dump wasn't really significant, couldn't make up any ground, still seeing lower highs on the 5-minute time frame. We need to be cautious on the potential little double top on gold. NUGT, nice higher high, breaking that resistance. And here comes gold. Gold just broke the high. So looking up towards the low 1212s. Some volatility picking up on SPY. Dollars at the low of the reaction. We are currently 18 cents above that must-hold support level. And that would make the gold bull's day. JNUG testing the high of the day, 929. Nice increasing bull volume for gold on the 5-minute. And SPY is continuing to consolidate with a high volume bearish candlestick. So last 5-minute moving average support is 227.47. If we close below that, we're looking back down towards the low of the day. 227.02 was the low of the initial reaction. All the SPY's goal for today would be, in my opinion, is to just keep this daily middle Bollinger Band as we have done for pretty much the past month straight. And that level is 227.18. So now the miner's key resistance is going to be the high from January 24th. And the Bollinger Bands on the daily getting tight are going to be a factor as well. We're either going to trade fairly sideways for a while or see a clear breakout or breakdown relative to these Bollinger Bands that are getting very tight. For JNUG on the daily, that's 954, upper Bollinger Band resistance. So BAC new lows, XLF is about to hit a new low of the day. It's currently at a double bottom at its low of the day. So if the financial sector sees another leg to the downside, we can anticipate SPY to head back down to 227. Apple, that's a potential volume climax. High of the day, 130.12, highest 5-minute volume candlestick in at least 4 hours. Let's see if that volume climax signals the high of the day. XAU regained the 10-day moving average resistance yesterday. And it's back testing and holding it so far today. That level is at 1203.33. So gold consolidating a bit. We're going to keep an eye on the 5-minute time frame to see if we continue to form higher lows and higher highs. Oil making a convincing bull break for the bulls today on the daily time frame. Looking to close above $53 for the first time. Closed above it once, but in the past 3 weeks, we've rejected from 53 psychological resistance about 8 times. So a good sign for the bulls to regain that level today. Doesn't matter which direction the volume is in on a volume climax. Just the fact that it's the highest volume of the day, and it often signals the top of an uptrend or the bottom of a downtrend. Not a guarantee, but a good heads up. Certainly seen it play out many times before. So Google bulls would have to see a huge recovery here by the end of the day for the daily chart to be looking good for the bulls at all after being unable to confirm that bullish reversal doji from yesterday. That doesn't seem very likely to happen. Facebook giving back a lot of those gains from the initial push. 132.08 support to maintain the higher low pattern. So JNUG hit a new high of the day by a penny. Not very convincing. Need to keep an eye on that. NUGT new high of the day was more convincing. Playing a little bit of catch up. Starting the move from behind JNUG. SPY is still weak. Only supports I'm looking at today are 227.02 and the low of the day 226.94. And we also have that daily middle Bollinger Band 227.18. Checking the hourly RSI on these bull miners, still not overbought. 68. Another high of the day test for JNUG. So for gold, it's 212 or 12.12.19 and 12.15.17. And there is a potential downtrend resistance line on the hourly, going back to the high of yesterday, hitting these lower highs. The bulls really want to break 12.12.19 to break that lower high consolidation pattern. So for the dollar, I'm looking at support of 99.50 and then that 99.43. And we could definitely test that level overnight, as the momentum definitely is favoring the bears. Checking the Netflix hourly. Wouldn't call that a bear flag. That one red dump of a candlestick, we've already gotten back about 2/3 of that dump. So I'd say that's a significant enough recovery for it not to be considered a bear flag. Doesn't mean we can't go down, just means it's not the definition of that pattern in my opinion. RIO, potential bull flag on the 5-minute time frame after a very bullish reaction. Bull flag on the daily time frame as well. Looking for upside, resistance is 45.39 and 46.09. And we did break 45.39, but only by a couple pennies. Good looking 5-minute, good looking daily, and a good looking weekly. Key support would be the low of consolidation on the daily, 44.14. So SPY is still weak. So Facebook bouncing off 132.04, likely to set a lower high compared to the high of the day and see the range tighten a little bit heading into the end of the day. And the minor bulls still holding on just fine as gold is testing the high of the reaction. Exponential support on the 5-minute has held the entire reaction. And only 2 red candlesticks, and each time bulls buying the dip off that support with some nice lower wicks. There's SPY, or I should say gold, heading for higher highs. Nice continuation. As SPY continues to pull back. Dollar is heading to 99.50 and 99.43. And SPY is back to testing the daily middle Bollinger Band. And the pattern has been for the second, or really the last hour or two of trading of SPY, the bulls really kick in and save the day. So this last power hour is going to be pretty telling. Nice new high of the day on JNUG. Every time we consolidate, that's a new support level in order to maintain the higher lows. So the most recent consolidation was 916 on JNUG. And for NUGT, that most recent consolidation was down at 1104. Gold is still battling at that downtrend resistance line on the hourly that I showed. So new support for Apple on that consolidation low, 129.65. These bull miners are testing their exponential support again. A more convincing bearish reversal candlestick on the 5-minute for the first time on this move to the upside with an upper wick. And if we confirm this bearish reversal candlestick, we will lose exponential support. Still holding at this moment, 924 on JNUG to maintain the strongest uptrend. And for NUGT, that level is 1113. Tesla, after that rejection on the bounce, is definitely feeling the downside action with the S&P 500. Needs to hold 249.80 to maintain higher lows on the 5-minute. But if SPY heads down toward the low of the day, Tesla could break that little higher low pattern on the 5-minute as well. Not much support for SPY where we currently stand compared to the low of the day. So JNUG currently in the process of potentially confirming that bearish reversal candlestick on the 5-minute. as is NUGT. Could be the first time we see 2 5-minute red candlesticks in a row since this reaction. And we're looking at that low of the last consolidation, 916 on JNUG. And 1104 on NUGT. SPY bulls would have to get over 227.52 as step one to try and regain some strength here. That was the last green candlestick, the high of it, a little bounce attempt that rejected, and then we've seen 15 minutes of red in a row since then. So if Apple breaks 129.65, it's then a lower low, breaking the higher low pattern on the 5-minute. Facebook bulls are holding strong. They're just 40 cents below the high of the day. So here's SPY at the daily middle Bollinger Band support. And the minor bulls trying to close this candlestick to not confirm the bearish reversal candlestick and to still maintain 4-period exponential moving average support on the 5-minute. 30 seconds until this candlestick closes. So personally, if I were in a bull miner trade, it would be the low of that consolidation previously that I've been pointing out. If that were to break, that would likely be my exit signal, as I probably wouldn't want to be holding overnight. Just my preference to be cash at the end of the day. So financials down at the low of the day, BAC, GS. Bull miners still holding that uptrend. Facebook has earnings after hours. So holding overnight, you're going to be gambling on earnings. So the bull miners still in control here. Everything is really slow and steady at this point. Steady SPY pullback. Steady gold uptrend on the 5-minute. Steady miner uptrend. Apple's getting really tight on the 5-minute. So SPY lower high and lower low 5-minute candlesticks for the past 35 minutes in a row. 227.02 and 226.94. These minor bulls testing their highs again. If it's a bearish reaction to Facebook earnings, it will be a double top pretty close to the all-time high. High of last week came within 36 cents of the all-time high. So with the way things are getting really tight here and slowing down and an hour left in the trading day, we're definitely likely going to see a little bit more volatility and action. Bull miners are barely clinging on to these higher lows. Apple approaching the high of the day again, just 12 cents shy. So JNUG just broke the higher low pattern on the 5-minute for the most picky traders at 9.19. Still have 9.16 to be watching. But close to losing exponential support. 11.04 NUGT is approaching that level. A little bit of upside in SPY as it is bouncing. Seeing that downside now in gold and these miners. So personally, I would be out, wanting to lock in those day gains. IBB, also a very tight, choppy action the past 3 hours. Resistance is 280.25, 280.35. So a little 3 tops at the high of the day. Key support to maintain on the 5-minute is 278.75 on IBB. And the bulls are holding up just fine with some nice follow through from yesterday. Daily resistance is 282.70. So we can see Dust and JDST are trying to make a little oversold bounce at this point. Looks like JDST is going to form a descending triangle pattern. Going to keep an eye on that. Would not be making a bullish entry into these bear miners just yet. This would be the potential pattern I'm watching on JDST, where we have a horizontal base of support that we have tested and held 5 times, and a lower high pattern and a tightening range, descending triangle. Gold bulls are hoping that the 5-minute time frame is a bull flag of consolidation, which is still entirely possible. So Yelp bulls, NVDA, AGN, all holding strong here, as are the Apple bulls, obviously. So SPY bulls are trying to break 227.52. Plenty of resistances on the 5-minute time frame. We've got the 100 and 200 period 5-minute moving average. But we are maintaining higher lows. New support just established at 227.14. So nice bounce in SPY. 227.61, 227.71, a couple resistances as AGN is testing the high of the day. Apple hitting a new high. So no volume climax signaling the top. So maintaining those higher lows on the 5-minute. That pattern has not broken for all of today. Facebook bulls approaching the high of the day. Let's see if this SPY momentum can push through to higher highs. So I can start going over daily and weekly charts if you guys want to start posting them. Might not stay on all the way until 4. We'll see if we can get through those before the end of the day. SPY currently forming a bearish reversal 5-minute candlestick. So we'll see if it's going to be a lower high. Currently topping out at 227.57. The Apple bulls could not have asked for a better reaction to earnings, and not only just the gap up, but the ability to maintain that gap up. This definitely shows upside potential likely tomorrow. So closing up at the high of the day, weekly time frame is full-on breakout mode, and again with the adjustments for dividends and splits, this is the highest. I've got the all-time high right now on Apple. So, other people are going to have their charts with the all-time high, I believe, up in the 134s. But if you factor in the artificial changes in prices on this chart, this is an all-time high for Apple. And again, it did the same thing for SPY. This chart adjusted for the SPY dividends, and it gives a different all-time high level, but I do like that because it adjusts for artificial changes in price. So tons of strength in Apple. And the fact that it is an all-time high with the adjusted prices, the daily RSI up at 88 means less. So FSLR is trying to reverse the longer-term downtrend. The daily chart still has the potential to be a bear flag. Need to be cautious of that. Nice follow-through from the bounce yesterday. But we need to get over these exponential resistances in order for it not to be a bear flag. So remember, the bear flag is a significant pullback, a weak bounce attempt, and then continuation to the downside. So we need further follow-through, even though we got nice follow-through today. Volume's not really too impressive, and the weekly time frame has been a huge downtrend. So to break the downtrend, the bulls are going to have to get over 36.41, which is still about almost, let's see here, that's about what, 7% to the upside to break the lower high pattern on the weekly. But it is a bullish reversal hammer on the weekly time frame. So the bulls are proving themselves with a decent week so far. And we just need further follow through to not be a bear flag on the daily time frame. GS. So GS broke to a lower low, and it's definitely one of the weaker banks because we broke the support that we had established around January 20th. So still, it's an inside candlestick today, but lower highs and lower lows, and you compare it to a bank like BAC, and we have a higher low pattern on the daily, completely different looking chart than GS. Lower highs and lower lows compared to higher lows and higher highs. So overall, the bears are in control of GS. Support is 228.16. Middle Bollinger Band daily resistance dropping down to 237.80, and a tightening range today to watch for inside candlestick tomorrow. And the way to gauge how the banks are compared to each other is to look at XLF, and XLF still has higher lows. So the fact that GS broke the low, where the whole sector, the sector spider, is holding that higher low, clearly anybody that's broken their low from this time period is of the weaker grouping. So you guys saw a little bit of an oversold bounce overnight, or I should say natural gas did, but it's a very weak bounce attempt at this point on the daily for you guys. Very easily could be a bear flag with that dump and a short-term bounce, and we look at natural gas, very weak bounce attempt at this point on the hourly time frame. Big upper wick of profit taking on the daily. So what I would be watching on the hourly is resistance of 3228, and support is down at 315. And yesterday was a clear bear break of that daily pattern. So the question is going to be, is this going to be a bear flag weak bounce attempt on you guys? And the way it's shaping up right now with volume, I would say more likely is than is not. As the weekly time frame, need to zoom in here, but weekly time frame is showing that weakness as well. And if we lose 24.80 support, closing below it this week, we're looking down at 22.21. CARA, huge bull move today, but seeing profit taking an upper wick. And considering where we're coming from here, we've gone almost 50%. We've gone 40% in the past 2 weeks. So profit taking, need to be aware. With this upper wick forming, we could be seeing that heading into tomorrow. The upper Bollinger Band tomorrow is going to be in the 1560s. If we lose that level, we will likely consolidate. Weekly time frame, very, very strong, breaking out and seeing a bit of resistance. The resistance was at 1769, 1765, and currently forming a lower high at 1720. So need to see how significant that upper wick is by the end of the day, and if it forms a bearish reversal inverted hammer, and we'll keep watching that upper Bollinger Band tomorrow. CF is still very healthy. 35.12, building a base of support there the past 3 days. Resistance is 36.80 and 37.17. Still a very good looking daily chart. Nice close at the high of the day. And weekly chart still strong as well. So bulls would love to see some follow through and a break of 37.17 to be a nice strong day tomorrow. MOS clinging on to the middle Bollinger Band daily support of 31.32, maintaining the higher low pattern on the daily time frame. A little bit of an upper wick of profit taking today to be aware of tomorrow. And the key support to hold here is 30.70. We have a little double bottom 30.70 and 30.71. And we've got resistance of 31.96 and 32.34. Weekly time frame goal for the bulls is to close Friday above 31.35 after 3 rejections in a row from the 100-week moving average resistance. POT, bulls trying to defend this 50-day moving average support for the third day in a row, 1842. It is still holding. Bulls need to break 1881 to have a convincing reaction off of this support. And definitely a little bit weaker than MOS on the daily and weekly time frame. And a close below the 50-day moving average will be a red flag, and a break of 1805 would break the higher low pattern on the daily. Bulls are just trying to cling on to exponential weekly support, which is currently still holding. Tesla still could be a bull flag of consolidation. Bulls are still holding up. That 8-period exponential support is 249.58, and we have held it for 2 months on this really strong breakout. If we lose that level, we're looking down at 247.10, and then I'm looking down at the middle Bollinger Band on the daily, which is going to be around 243 tomorrow. Inside candlestick on the weekly is forming. Clear resistance at 258, so we could be in for a bit more consolidation on Tesla after a huge bull run the past 2 weeks. And a close at the low of the day. Obviously, momentum will favor the bears into tomorrow. SBUX dumping. Yesterday, the loss of all moving average support and the break of the higher low that was at 55.04 was a bear signal. And we're seeing big time follow through to the downside. Looking at support of 53 even. On the verge of an all-time high. On the verge of a new high of the day. Nice recovery by CMG. Earnings are tomorrow. It's really tight on the daily, and it's all about the weekly time frame. The bulls are close to changing this trend. Bullish reaction to earnings. We're looking at 440 key resistance, and if we turn 440 into support, that is a change of the trend to favor the bulls on the weekly time frame. A bearish reaction to earnings, and we're looking down at the lowest price we've seen was down at 352.96. But there's a little bit of support before that, 373, 362. So tomorrow's a very important day for the weekly longer-term trend on CMG. AMD rejecting from that daily upper Bollinger Band resistance. So this makes the 6th rejection in a row, including back in December. That level is 1193, huge bull volume. So the question tomorrow is going to be, can the bulls continue this move with big volume and break out, or are we going to consolidate now with the inability to get over that resistance? And the weekly resistance was 1242, and we got up to 1214. So this is a lower high, and need to be cautious of the potential. If we can't break 1242, we might form that equilibrium pattern of lower highs and higher lows on the weekly time frame after that big bull break in November and December. Tomorrow's a pretty important day for AMD regarding 1242 resistance. So Tesla just did it. XBI, gap up open, and we filled that gap, but the bulls have to be pretty pleased with the ability to maintain the 4% move that we saw yesterday. So not a dump, not significant profit taking. Support established now at 64.34, and resistance is 65.27 and 65.95. So I'd say the bulls would call today a victory, even though we're slightly red. Just the fact that we didn't give any back. The bulls need to close above the weekly 100-week resistance, 65.11 by the end of the day Friday, to see a nice strong bull break of this tightening pattern on the weekly. So still in a lower high, higher low pattern on the weekly until we can get over 65.95. Bulls are right at those resistance levels. COPX resistance 24.99, and we hit 25, so not a clear break of that double top, but copper is on the verge of a breakout, so definitely worth watching for continuation. A little bull flag pattern, and we're looking for that continuation now. Weekly upper Bollinger Band resistance 25.57. And copper trying to backtest and hold 270 support. We have not backtested and held 270 as support in years. So we got it as support yesterday. Now we need to hold it as support to give confidence in the potential breakout for the bulls. So GOOG bulls did maintain the low of yesterday as support, 790.52. Did not confirm the bullish reversal doji in any way, but still maintaining support in the 50-day moving average. So the bulls need to see some follow-through. Resistance is 802. And then the middle Bollinger Band on the daily of 808.34. And if we were to see continued pullback, the weekly middle Bollinger Band support is down at 784. So bulls would have liked to confirm. The fact that we couldn't confirm that bullish reversal doji is a bit of a red flag as well. We need to see some upside in Google tomorrow. Apple resistance is all psychological levels from here for me personally because of the adjusted price. So 130.50, 131. AGN is on absolute fire. So why I liked AGN yesterday was the close above the 100-day moving average resistance after what looks like a dozen rejections. And we got really nice increasing volume follow through, bullish MACD cross, and it was the weekly chart. So it's multiple time frames. I look at the weekly chart and I see a bull flag of normal healthy consolidation following a breakout, and that combined with a break of resistance on the daily time frame doubles how much I like a name. And that's what happened to AGN yesterday. Close above 225.81 shows lots of strength as we're at the high of the day here at the end of the day. AMGN upper Bollinger Band resistance 159.56. Highest price we've seen is 161. So that upper Bollinger Band is in the way from hitting higher highs. Same thing here, looking like nice bull flag consolidation, holding the middle Bollinger Band. Bullish reversal candlestick last week being confirmed this week. A break of 161 would go a long way for the confidence of the bulls for continuation of this move. So SPY bulls bouncing off the daily middle Bollinger Band support yet again. Third day in a row, and really what seems like 9 out of 10 times in 2017. EMC bulls are buying the dip. For those EMC players, we had people buying off 350 support, and big orders are showing up, so that was a nice entry. Bulls are defending support, and they're running it up here at the end of the day. Look at that bid walking the price up. So that is a good sign for those that got in off that support. So end of the day action here, not a whole lot changing. Pretty mellow reaction to the FOMC overall. High of the day test on Facebook. Bulls have high hopes. You can tell by the price action. Bulls are looking for a beat and a blue sky breakout. NVDA bulls are trying to close above the upper Bollinger Band to break out from the daily. Really strong move. Ever since we broke this lower high pattern, turned that middle Bollinger Band into support, bulls have been in strong control. So natural gas is still very weak. We've got resistance at 3228 and support at 315 and 311. But a very weak oversold bounce attempt at this point. On the hourly time frame, daily time frame still weak with a big upper wick of profit taking on the bounce attempt today. Bears still in control of natural gas, heading into the inventory report day tomorrow. Yelp bulls, perfect follow through. Bullish reversal candlestick right off that middle Bollinger Band. And we were pointing out the potential for low volume to be aware of. And this is exactly what the bulls want to see. Increase in bull volume. And we're heading up to 43.03 resistance. Came just 9 cents shy of that today. Bulls want to break that resistance level tomorrow. Checking back in on gold. Still consolidating. It's still healthy consolidation on the 5-minute, but this downtrend resistance on the hourly has rejected the price a bunch of times on the 5-minute time frame. And we can draw an uptrend support line to make that a tightening pattern. And that's what I'd be watching on the hourly heading into tomorrow for gold. Facebook all-time high is 133.50. CLVS, the bulls buy the dip time and time again. It is a bearish reversal doji at this point. A red flag for the bulls will be breaking exponential support, which has been holding for a month. A red day tomorrow will confirm this bearish reversal doji. And key support will be $60 on the dot. If we break $60, we lose the very strong higher low pattern on the daily. So indecision at the top of an uptrend, we always need to be cautious as it is a bearish reversal candlestick. HRS, third rejection in 4 days from the 50-day moving average resistance of 103.37. Support is down at 161. Weekly time frame is not confirming the bullish reversal candlestick. So on consolidation, we've tried to form bullish reversal candlesticks a couple times with no follow through. But compared to where we are coming from, this is still normal healthy consolidation on the weekly. You can see we've only given back about a third of the breakout gains. And we do have the middle Bollinger Band 98.92 support to be watching. So still unable to turn around the lower high pattern on the daily, but worth keeping an eye on it for it to do so due to the weekly chart. AGN over 227. Now we're looking up at the 200-week moving average resistance of 229.91. We have to keep in mind the overall weekly chart is absolutely a downtrend. And we're going to be approaching, well, actually we're breaking that downtrend resistance. So that's a good sign for the bulls. Could draw another one right here, hitting these lower highs, but that's all the way up in the upper 230s. AGN next resistance There's not going to be much before that 200-week moving average. $232.19, $234.96. So it is that 200-week moving average is the next clear resistance, $229.91. The bull miners pulling back a bit more. SPY strength at the end of the day. You can set your watch to it. Facebook bulls 15 cents shy of a new all-time high here heading into earnings. So I'm going to wrap it up here and sign off a bit early after more talking than I want to do in a whole week. SPY resistance is going to be 227.90. Looks to be in the bag for the bulls to hold the daily middle Bollinger Band. Don't want to jinx those bulls, but it would require a 40 cents drop in the next half hour. Certainly possible, but bulls do have momentum. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you all have good days. AGN is not slowing down. Neither is Facebook. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Have a great night.